Absolutely. I mean, I think it's part of an expected continuum. Those cuts were expected by the market, and we've seen gradually improving conditions across the debt capital markets over the balance of this year. And so I think this first 50 basis point cut is a clear signal in terms of the new direction, and hopefully that'll unlock incremental amounts of confidence and should obviously reduce cost of capital and perhaps spur some more strategic activity heading into the end of this year. And then as we move into 2025, hopefully improve backlogs and more activity across the markets.
Do you reckon they managed to maneuver a soft landing?
Right now, that is consensus. It's always a very tricky job to manage economies through transition, but inflation levels are coming down. Unemployment is manageable. They're starting to put through the rate cuts and sort of maintain a soft landing trajectory. It's certainly consensus and my hope and expectation.
Would you say that the U.S. and the Fed is ahead of the curve when it comes to policy making and versus Europe?
I think that the different geographies have very different characteristics. There are different points in their recovery cycle. So we see easing really from central banks around the world. Each of them is going to need to calibrate the individual characteristics of their own economy, but I think there's a shared objective that we try to have, soft landing and get back to a growth trajectory for all the major economies around the world.
Yeah, let me bring you back to the States and the big elephant in the room, the elections in November. So whatever the outcome will it be a big risk for the economy and also for uncertainty?
Well, when it comes to the election, whether it goes one way or the other, at this point we don't know. The expectation is it's going to be a very, very close election, as has been the case for the last several U.S. presidential elections. But I think regardless of the outcome, the U.S. economy is in pretty firm footing, and I'd expect the forward trajectory for growth overall in the U.S. economy to be reasonably consistent. There obviously could be policy differences depending on who wins and who loses, but overall for the U.S. economy, reasonably optimistic.
Okay, it's interesting. So the outcome, of course, matters in terms of policy making, but for the economy as such, if I listen to you, it doesn't matter too much?
There will be specific components that may be impacted more or less in one administration versus another. But if I were just to take a step back and think about what are the next couple of years, likely to bring across the U.S. economy, I remain optimistic. We'll see, a soft landing for the economy overall, more activity coming through the capital markets and the system. So reasonably hopeful.
Yeah.